Hello everyone, welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. If you haven't been here before, my name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. I've moved inside today because I've got a bit of a fantastic guest lined up for you. And we're going to talk about that great game that happened in the weekend between Ireland and the All Blacks at Soldier Field in Chicago. There's a lot to discuss. I know a lot of you in the comments have been asking, when are you going to drop your video on this game? Well, here it is, folks. I've been waiting for this moment because I wanted this guest to come on and talk to me about the particular game. He's a fan of many of yours, and you are a fan of his. His name is Ralph. He's from Rugby Fanatics on YouTube. Got a great channel going there, and I wanted to give Ralph a lot of support, so I've got him to come on to do a collab today, and we're going to talk about the All Blacks versus Ireland in Chicago. So it's time. So g'day Ralph, welcome to the show, mate. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, pleasure, Mark. Thanks for having me. Grateful. I love what you're doing. So yeah, awesome.
Likewise, mate. I'm a big fan of yours, and that's why you're on the show today, because I want to talk to my hero in New Zealand. Like, this is this is stardust for me, mate. And I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of people in the comments of my videos saying, why haven't you done a video about the All Blacks Ireland game yet? And I said, well, it's because I've got a special guest coming on the show, and here he is now. So welcome. It's good to have you here. I want to talk about the All Blacks versus Ireland with you today because there's lots to discuss. That whole game was something pretty chaotic, wasn't it, right from the beginning? So let's start off, and I think we should start off with, first of all, the venue. The venue was amazing, wasn't it? Soldier Field in Chicago. What did you think of it, mate, when you saw it on TV?
Well, honestly, it was a roller coaster, Mark? The energy, the build-up, the preview of this game, for two rivalries, Soldier Field just had it all, The two nations at war, and also I enjoyed the national anthem as well for both sides, and the haka as well was chilling as well. So yeah, it was an awesome atmosphere, man.
Yeah, it was, and I think in terms of the whole lead up to the game, right? There was a lot of Irish people in town. Brian O'Driscoll was there pumping everybody up and giving a bit of banter to Justin Marshall. And I was just sad that I wasn't there, mate, because it felt like one of those moments you needed to be part of. But anyway, the game got underway. And what was your expectation before the game in terms of what you thought the All Blacks were going to produce? Were you one of these people that were saying, well, Ireland haven't had any games together and the All Blacks are going to be better because they've had more game time? Was that what you were thinking, or did you have a different take on it?
I thought that, I think when Dan Sheehan at the end of the game in his post-interview, I think he said it clearly. They tried to lay off that excuse, I think they came into the game without any of that excuse. So yeah, I think Ireland were ready for this match, to be quite honest. Against us, so yeah, but yeah, it was just that last 20 was amazing for my boys. Yeah,
they turned it on in the last 20, that's for sure. But there's plenty to talk about before we get to that last 20 minutes. So let's talk about what happened in the beginning of the game. So what was your feeling first of all when Scott Barrett went off, when he got injured early in the game? Did you think that was going to be a massive turning point for the All Blacks?
Yeah, I mean, when he went off, our boys had to recognise the pack. I mean, which throughout all of our structure, I thought Geordie Barrett, when he picked up a knock as well, and I thought bringing in Leinster Whanganuku earlier on, than expected, and credit to him, he gave us a bit of go forward. So yeah, I think it kind of changed the momentum as well. It was sort of like a stop and start. It was frustrating. And that when those guys went off, but I think the boys regrouped and did well to sort of play through the whole 80.
It was a difficult game to get into as a spectator, though, wasn't it, from the beginning, because you had all those injuries, and then you had the situation with the video thing at the ground, which it wasn't working properly for the TMO, and I can't believe it. Here we are. We've got one of the biggest spectacles of world rugby happening in America to showcase our beautiful game, and the stadium technology is not working. Who's responsible for this? Is it World Rugby? Is it the Chicago stadium people? It's just totally embarrassing for the game, right? That we had to end up playing, 52 minutes in the first half because of this stuff. So that was frustrating. And then we had the injuries, of course. What did you think of the All Blacks play, though, in that first half? Were you sitting on the side of your seat thinking, oh, yeah, the boys have got this covered, or were you a bit nervous?
I was actually nervous, and to be quite honest, Mark, it was tough to watch. We completely lost control and rhythm. We struggled to string together more than 3 or 4 phases without something going wrong, whether it was a drop ball or a misfiring line out or conceding silly penalties. But I thought our set piece, especially in the line out, was all over the place. Timing was off, communication wasn't clear, and any momentum we tried to build just fell apart. And Ireland, I thought, credit to Ireland, they capitalised on the opportunities and controlling territory and position for probably 80% of that first half. They kept us pinned in our own half, I thought, and forced us to play off the back foot. But their kicking game was intelligent. What about Gibson Park?
Oh,
The box kick was perfectly weighted, and their chase put us under constant pressure. So yeah, that's my thoughts, Mark. Yeah,
no, that's brilliant, and I agree with you. Like, I've watched Gibson Park a lot, probably like you have over the years, and in that Irish jersey, he's had some phenomenal games. But I tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen Gibson Park kick better in any other game than I saw him kick in this game, in terms of his timing, his accuracy, and also the distance he was getting. He was putting the ball down towards the 50-metre mark, right, after clearing it out of their own 22. It was just exceptional. So, yes, he was one of the standout players for me in that first half. What did you think of the red card incident? Let's talk about that. It was Beauden Barrett, of course, up against Ty Byrne. It was an unfortunate situation as it looked in the replay. What was your take on all of that?
Yeah, it was controversial, Mark. I thought that red card, to me, it should have been a yellow. There was no reckless intent, no foul play. I think it was just one of those marginal clashes that, in a contact sport like rugby, of course, shouldn't end players' game. I think that decision completely disrupted the flow of the match. It took too long to review, leaving both teams standing around, and you could just see the All Blacks were just rattled.
Yeah, they were. And this is one of those things, isn't it? I know by the state of the law was followed as per se by the referee. But aren't we getting to the stage now where we should be empowering the referees to make the right decision for the game, right? So the referee should have a power to look at that with his touch judges and say, listen, this was unintentional. He wasn't trying to wipe out Beauden Barrett. He went in an unfortunate position in the tackle. Beauden Barrett didn't have to leave the field with an HIA or anything, so it didn't impact the player that he collided with. And the game should have gone on, maybe with a penalty even without a yellow card. It should have been maybe just a penalty for the All Blacks. But we're seeing too much disruption, aren't we? And as you said, it took so long to work out what was going on before we actually finally got a decision. Now, good news I see out of New Zealand, Beauden Barrett's stepped up in front of the press, and he said that he's going to participate in the punishment process of Ty Byrne and be on Ty Byrne's side, because he think it was a unwarranted red card. Have you heard that story so far?
No, but I scrolled through, and I haven't got the time to watch it. But it's good that he's on Bernie's side, which it was I think it was it sucks. It sucks, to be honest. But the law, like you said, the law is the law, Mark, at the end of the day, and that's guess the players have to adapt to it and abide by the laws, because the game is changing, it's evolving, and there's just too many laws and rules that are being implemented.
That's true. If you were sitting down with someone today, a mate on the couch in the weekend watching a game of rugby, and it was their first game of watching, it'd be almost impossible to explain to them how it all works, isn't it? It's just so complicated for a newbie. Okay, so getting back to that first half, we saw some great play from Gibson Park. What did you think of the Irish forwards? Did you think that they were going well against the All Blacks at that time of the game?
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, their forward pack, I think for both sides, it was scrappy in terms of the set piece. I think it was, there wasn't much cohesion in that first half, I thought. But the forward pack for Irish, they gave a bit of they had a bit of go forward. put a lot of pressure on our own half, as I mentioned. But yeah, big ups to the forward pack, and obviously, with Tad Burney out of the game, then the impact of Doris when he came on played a huge part in the forward pack. Yeah, just his experience and his impact. So yeah.
I think that's a good point. I think what I liked around that period of the game too was with Andy Farrell managing his players really well. As you say, we saw Caelan Doris come on, but we also saw Ian Henderson come on as well, and he covered in that role. And I thought Farrell did that really well because obviously Doris coming back from injury probably wasn't 100% match ready to go, but he had to juggle those two players very well. Henderson's not a superstar for Ireland, but he's one of those players that you can rely on in that situation, and I think he did his job well. But I'm with you. I think in terms of the All Blacks, a lot of miscommunication in that first half. The forwards were all over the place a bit. It didn't seem to be working at the breakdown. And where I was disappointed as an All Black fan was everybody saying they're 10 games into their season, that this should be working like clockwork by now, right? But, Ireland had an excuse, right? These guys haven't played for a long time together. So they looked rusty in the first half in their forwards. But the All Blacks, were there any players in the All Black forwards that were really standing out for you that were doing well in that first half?
I thought Fletcher Newell played a huge part in the scrum. I thought our scrum was had a bit of stability and go forward, which was really good. But then we got pinned for a penalty for some reason. But Paul Fletcher, he tried to support his body weight into the scrum. But yeah, we just kept getting penalised, and I think the discipline kind of creeped in and sort of, it was a letdown. There was a bit of a lack in our go forward in the scrummage, in our set piece. But yeah, that's how I looked at it.
And what about the transition of leadership over to Ardie after Scott Barrett went off? Do you think that might have had some impact in terms of the way that the leaders were communicating for the All Blacks, or you don't think that was a major issue?
I think that wasn't a major issue. We know what Ardie is capable. He's a great leader, around the park, and the players just adapt as soon as he takes that leadership role, that armband. So yeah, there was no issue there.
Okay, cool. Half time, Ireland went to the break with a lead. What were you thinking at that stage? Were you confident the All Blacks were going to be able to come back in the second half, given our second half performances so far in 2025?
Yeah, I thought the second half though was a different story. I thought the bench completely changed the game when Tamaiti Williams and Wallace Atiti and Cam Boygaard, came on for shifted energy. I thought Williams' try around the hour mark gave us the lead and finally got us, on the front foot. And also Satiti's try soon after, fed by a classic Beauden Barrett, Damien McKenzie combo, showcased that flair sort of All Blacks rugby.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think Tamaiti Williams, I think you're spot on. I think his impact on the game was significant, and we saw a change in the level of the All Blacks performance around that time. So I think he can certainly hold his head high, and I think it was one of his better performances. I think some people have been saying that Tamaiti hasn't really reached that level this year that he was last year, but he seemed to do that in this second half, and I was impressed like you were. And I think Wallace Atiti played better too than what we've seen him so far this year. So I think those two that you've highlighted were absolutely spot on. And then it seemed just to click for a few minutes, didn't it? That last 15 minutes, the All Blacks seemed to get into a rhythm that, let's face it, we haven't seen it too often in 2025. So one, it was a bit of a surprise. Two, it was nice to see. Obviously, there's no doubt about that. But where's the consistency? Why aren't we seeing this over the course of 60, 70 or even 80 minutes of a game?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mark, because every All Blacks game we watch, the second half is always a letdown for us, and I think they've learned from that Wellington game against the Springbok. I think they started to they sort of looked at themselves in the mirror and say, this is it. What are we going to do in these last dying minutes? And that's what they did. They delivered. I thought in the last 12. We probably had like 88% possession and 80% territory in that second half. And what a way for Roy Gard to seal the game late. Another decisive try, in that last 20. And yeah, we were all impressed. What impressed me most about it was the patience, and the calm under pressure and the adaptability, turning a frustrating first 60 minutes into a strong, controlled finish, I thought.
Okay, good. So what are you expecting now that you've seen this happen in the last 15 minutes of this game? Are you expecting that they hit the ground running against Scotland and they play this rugby that we saw consistently throughout that game? Or do you think we're still not at that stage yet where we can rely on the consistency from the All Blacks to deliver that type of game?
I think that consistency will definitely show against Scotland. I don't think there's any pressure heading into our next game. I thought this game was sort of like a reflection of, just building confidence leading on to Murrayfield. So I think there's no, yeah, I think we can put, if we can be in dark places, I think, if we can get ourselves in a situation where, when there's so much pressure, and if we can absorb that pressure against Scotland, I think, I don't see why we'll definitely definitely put up a gold standard performance,
Okay,
but consistently.
let me put you on the spot then. Let me ask you this hypothetical question. If Ireland if that Irish team had played 10 games like the All Blacks had before the game on Saturday, do you think the All Blacks still would have won that game?
I think so.
You think
I
so?
think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair call. I don't think they would have. I think Ireland would have stayed in the game longer because when they started to, first of all, they started to tire a bit. The All Blacks combinations started to work, particularly when Leicester and Quinn Tupaia started doing their stuff in the midfield, which I was extremely impressed with, I've got to say. And I've been saying all year that Leicester Fainga'anuku should be starting in this All Black team. And he is the difference in terms of just the energy. He gives off that energy to me like Leroy Carter does. He's hungry for work. He goes looking for work. He's able to create a gap and get over the gain line. And that gives a lot of confidence to the players that are around him and outside of him. And I think we saw that a lot in the weekend. But my point is, I think that a well-drilled Irish team with 10 games behind them, they would have been able to control that game from half-time, and I think they would have come home a lot stronger. That's just my take on that, my opinion on it. But like you, I'm hoping that the All Blacks can take this into Scotland. But let's talk about some of the possible selection issues for the All Blacks. What did you think of Josh Lord, first of all, his performance when he came on in the weekend?
I thought he made a huge impact coming off the bench. With a few line-out steals, he was quite dominant in the set piece. But yeah, he was incredible. Just his work rate, around the park. But yeah, he's looking like a person that's in for the future All Blacks. Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
did.
was outstanding for me to be quite honest.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I said in my preview video of the game, I said, look, I haven't yet seen from Josh Lord the type of game that makes me think he's really believing that he belongs there. But I did see that in the weekend, and I thought, yeah, he grew another level for me this weekend, and I think he deserves to get more opportunities. And of course, we've got Sam Darry there as well. Who do you pick between Sam Darry and Josh Lord? Where are you sitting on that one?
Well, we haven't seen Sam Derry for play international for a while. I mean, um, he had a great season in the NPC for Canterbury, and so hopefully he gets a spot, back into selection. But yeah, I think Sam Derry's a good player as well. Don't get me wrong, he's an awesome player, but I think he hasn't had enough international games just yet. I think
Yeah.
the last time we saw him was against Argentina last year, with that amazing try from Burden Barrett, that set up from Burden Barrett. But yeah, I'd love to see more Sam Derry, but I think Josh Lord is the future right now.
Okay, good. So you see him being an integral part of the team come Rugby World Cup 2027 for the All Blacks, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, cool. Now, what about the backline at the moment? There's been a lot of talk on your channel, on other channels, about the All Black backline and what we're doing. Still no Ruben Love. I don't know what's going on there. There seems to be some kind of voodoo thing going on with Ruben Love and the All Blacks at the moment. What's your take on Ruben Love? Do you think he should be in this team, and do you think he should be playing? And where should he be playing in this All Black team?
I think I'm with you, Mark. I think this Northern tour would have been a good opportunity just to bring in the young guns, bring in young talent. I think Ruben Love is up there. I think just give him a crack at 10. just to see where he's at in terms of test level. But yeah, it's just giving these young guys the opportunity. They just need that, they they just need a chance. But yeah, I don't know if Scott Robertson is afraid of losing or he's just playing it safe. But I think realistically, I think he's just going to continue on playing it safe and just stick to his core players really right now.
And do you see that hurting us longer term as we start to approach? It's, what is it, 697 days today until the start of the Rugby World Cup. There we go. That's the countdown. We're under 700 days. So is there enough time to get some new people into this team? Or do you think, like you just said, Razor's going to be conservative? He's going to stay with this bulk of the main squad that he's got, and that's what we're going to see at Rugby World Cup 2027?
Well, if you think about it, Mark, last year's Northern Tour, that was a perfect opportunity to bring in some young talent. But now I think, now we're in 2025, it's getting a little bit too late. But I mean, there's still a possibility. Bringing in young guns right now. I think it's time, but yeah, just looking at it right now, I think Scott Robertson isn't looking into the future. I think he's just looking at the present now and what he and sticking to, as I mentioned, the team that he has right now, playing it safe.
Yep. Yeah, I look at England in the weekend and I look at players like Henry Pollock and Finn Baxter and Guy Pepper and all these guys getting their chances right and stepping up on the world stage and playing it really, really well and getting that experience. To me, the All Blacks are just not doing that enough in terms of getting depth, and particularly in the back line. That's where I really have an issue, is in the back line. And we saw it in the weekend, right? Geordie Barrett gets injured. He goes off. We were fortunate that it worked in the weekend. We had the cover there with Leicester and Quinn Tupaia. But, what if somebody else gets injured as well? Where do we go to, particularly from a 10 position, right? If Barrett or McKenzie get injured, what have we got as backup?
Oh, I was hoping, obviously, Ruben Love and maybe Reece Rehana might get a crack as well. And Jacob Combe, Jacob Combe, from the Taranaki. Yeah, Jacob. Yes, I think he should get a shot, test level. So yeah, I mean, we've got the depth, we've got the tens, we've got the talent here in New Zealand. It's just utilising them.
Yep, they're not getting a game. Out of Rehana and Josh Jacob, which one do you like the best out of those two?
I think I'll take them both.
Yeah,
they've two different personalities, two different, two unique players. So yeah, different styles. So yeah, I'll take them both.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who was your favourite All Black player in the forwards in the weekend, and who was your favourite All Black player in the backs in the weekend against Ireland?
Yeah, I thought my favourite forward was Fabian Holland. His performance was exceptional as a lock. He was dominant. The lineouts carried hard in the tight phases and provided crucial support around the breakdown. His work rate, physicality, and leadership in the injury room earned him the man of the match. And rightfully so. He was consistently gave the team the front foot ball. I thought he disrupted Ireland's position, and he brought an energy, lifted the pack at key moments. So yeah, Fabian Holland. And for the backs, I thought Caleb Clark, when he came back from injury, he played an impact, was massive. His dominance in the high ball, his running game, and the ability to break tackles consistently gave us the front foot ball, and constantly forced Ireland to scramble defensively as well. His presence created opportunities, not just for himself, but for the back line to exploit. I thought that pass from Cam Roygaard was excellent. I think we're starting to expose the wider channel as well, which is awesome. We haven't seen that for a long time.
Do you think we saw that because Geordie was off the field?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I've got nothing against Geordie Barrett. I think he's a wonderful rugby player. I just think he's been used in the wrong position for the All Blacks, and I've been saying that for a couple of years now. But in terms of my standout player, I would agree with you on Fabian Holland, but I'd also put a kind of an asterisk there with Tamaiti Williams, because I think when he came on, he really changed the game for the All Blacks. He gave them that momentum up front that really helped them get over the top of the Irish forwards. And then in the backs, I'm going to give it to Leicester, because I just think Leicester gave us something that we've been missing. And I like to see that in the All Black backline. So I just hope and I pray, and I've got my fingers crossed and everything, that we get to see more of it, because I think it was a differentiator. I haven't caught up with the news on Geordie Barrett's injury. Is he going to be out for this weekend, or what's the story there?
I haven't heard anything lately as well, so hopefully it's nothing serious.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I mean, doesn't matter if he's out. I mean, we've got Leicester, as you mentioned. They could cover 12. It'll be a good combo with Quinton Paya.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a bit of engine room there. So yeah,
Okay, good.
no stress.
What do you think of Will Jordan's performances lately? He's not scoring tries like he used to for the All Blacks, because he's moved, first of all, to fullback, which I don't like. I think he should still be on the wing. But what do you think of his performance? What do you think's missing from Will Jordan at the moment?
I think he hasn't really injected himself into the game as much as you mentioned. Um, I think we haven't given him much time or much ball time, or I don't know. Maybe a lot of teams could read him. Maybe a lot of teams that put a lot of pressure on Will Jordan. They probably they already sussed him out. But yeah, he just doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't bring that energy like he used to. He's a world class fullback. And also a winger as well, if need be. But yeah, just don't know what's happening.
Oh, well, we'll see how he goes. I'm sure he's going to be in the team for this weekend's game against Scotland. Talking about the team for Scotland, how many changes would you make, and who would you bring in and take out of the team for the All Blacks this weekend?
Ooh. I'll probably take Geordie out if he's out injured, and bring in Leicester Whangaruku.
So
I think
you'd play Leicester at 13 and bring Quintupire into 12. Is that how you do it, or?
So 12. Yep,
Yeah.
that's how I would do it.
Yep.
And possibly Damien McKenzie in as well at 10. What do you reckon?
I'm not a big Damien McKenzie fan, and I probably got all my viewers ready to drop comments and slay me on this. But listen, this is my position on McKenzie, and my position has been clear for a long time. Before you start writing your comments out there, everybody, I think Damien McKenzie, if he's going to be in this All Black team, he needs to come off the bench like we saw in the weekend. That's where I believe he can make the biggest impact. I think he's too small to start against the top teams in world rugby, and we've seen the impact of that when he's been challenged under the high ball and he's had runners running at him who are big 10s and 12s. He just gets absolutely mowed down at number 10. So I don't think he's big enough. That's one of the reasons. And his decision making when he starts at 10 for the All Blacks has been pretty horrendous at times as well. So that's why I don't support Damien McKenzie starting at 10. So I think Bowden has to be our man for the mere fact that we don't have somebody else, and we're not growing somebody else into that position. And even talking to you about it makes me kind of get goosebumps thinking that why are we missing out on this opportunity? Like South Africa has Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu, Mani Lebok and Andre Pollard, 3 world-class 10s that can play all sorts of different games and bring them on. And we have 1.5, and if one of them gets injured, what's going to happen? That's my biggest concern in this All Black team at the moment. But okay, so put Damien McKenzie aside for a minute. Who else are you going to have in the team against Scotland?
I think it will be a good opportunity to try out a new combination. Maybe Ruben Love, maybe start him at 10, against Scotland.
Yep.
I mean, these are the crucial games, these are the important games that, this is time for Razor to play 4D chess, because I think we're stuck in checkers at the moment. We're trying to figure out, who to put on in there. And yeah, I think it's time to bring in Love, maybe try him at 10, and maybe Beauden Barrett off the bench. I think it's time to bring in some new talent.
You've got an absolute agreement from me on that one. I'd love to see that happen. But here's the thing, mate. You're living in New Zealand. I haven't been there for many, many years, right? So you know what Kiwi fans are like, right? And Kiwi fans are, first of all, very conservative. They don't like new people coming into the team and having an opportunity in a big game. And they hate losing, right? So the thing that annoys me about these Kiwi fans is that just by suggesting Ruben Love should start at 10, they'll say, no, you're going to lose the game. Who said you're going to lose the game just because you bring him in, right?
Absolutely.
You got to back your players, right? As a coach, you got to say, right, I believe in you. Get in there and do the job for me, right? If you deserve the jersey, look at Leroy Carter. He was given the opportunity by Razor, right? He grabbed it with both arms, and now he's turned out to be, probably one of the first guys' names on the starting sheet every week now. Yeah.
Exactly, Mark, and I absolutely agree with you. And this is my argument. That second half against Irish, when the young players came on, they made huge impact, and that's when that just proves that we've got the talent. And when young guys come in that last minute, they make huge impact, and it's time. Like you said, it's time to bring in, try out Ruben Love, or bring in Dylan Pledger.
Yes.
Dylan Pledger from Otago, maybe try him out, or Preston,
Mm-hmm.
So we've got all the depth, the talent, but like you said, don't get me started with the New Zealand public. Yeah, they're a bit, no comment.
I'll tell you what, mate, I want to throw something else at you that might be very, very scary to consider for this weekend against Scotland, and that could be Anton Leonard-Brown starting at number 12. Do you think Razor would do that?
I think so. I think he will play it safe.
Yep.
I think the problem is with Scott Robertson now is he's feeling a little bit insecure in his role at the moment, and I think he's in that winning mentality. Whereas compare him to Rassi, it doesn't matter if Rassi or South Africa lose. It's about rebuilding. For the next game, it's not about winning the tour. It's not about winning. Well, they won the rugby championship, but it's not winning. It's not about winning. It's about growing and rebuilding, and that's not what we're seeing at the moment with under the leadership of Scott Robertson.
Well, you're right, and I think that South Africa won the rugby championship because they dared to try their younger players. Look at what happened in Wellington, right? Rassie changed the team almost from Auckland, and had Damien Willemse coming in at 12, had Sasha in there as well. These young guys were given an opportunity to step up, play the All Blacks at home, and to get more experience in that pressure cooker thing. But the New Zealand public doesn't want to see that because they're scared of losing, as you just said. And Razor seems to be, you said Razor's been like this lately. I think he's been like it since day one. He's been conservative. He's been worried about losing rather than necessarily building key depth and key positions. But that's something we can talk about all day. So what do you think is going to happen against Scotland? You said in the beginning of the show that you think we're going to pretty much nail it this weekend. You don't see any fear of Finn Russell having the game of his life and turning us upside down and inside out. What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, Murrayfield has got a lot of history there for us. I mean, I remember that game in 2017, when Scotland almost beat us, 22-17. But I think the Scottish will come out in Murrayfield, super pumped. I think they're looking for redemption. But in all honesty, just the way we performed against Ireland, if we keep that momentum in that last 20, if we can play like that, especially when we've been put into dark places, I think we'll come up with confidently with the win.
Okay.
What do you reckon, Mark?
Well, before I tell you what I think is going to happen, you give me a score prediction, mate. What do you think the score is going to be? Scotland have just put 85 points against the United States Eagles. So what are they going to do against the All Blacks?
My predicted score, I think. That's a tricky one. I think Scotland can flick the switch. I think it's going to be a tight game. It could go either way. I think maybe All Blacks by 8.
All Blacks
and
by 8.
Scotland
okay.
All Blacks by 8.
Mm-hmm.
Would be a close encounter. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to throw it out there. I think the All Blacks are going to win 34 points to 16. There you go. There's one thing that I'm thinking about Scotland at the moment. I'm thinking that if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always got. So they've put Gregor Townsend back in again. Scotland played well against South Africa last year at home for 60 minutes of that game, and then they got trampled over in the last 20 minutes of that game. And I just don't see the Scottish team being able to go up the level they need to, doing what they're doing at the moment against the top teams in world rugby. Yes, they look great against Fiji, or they look great against the United States, but when it comes to this type of game, and I think the All Blacks' last 15 minutes is going to give them a lot of confidence going into this game. And if the weather conditions allow, and that's something else we need to think about at Murrayfield, of course, is if the weather conditions play their part, then the All Blacks might bring it home. And I can see us scoring 3 or 4 quick tries in the first half, and that I think is going to be the difference.
Well, if we're putting Lester Whanganuku in the centres, will definitely give us a bit of a go forward. So, yeah, 100%.
Okay, excellent stuff. So no other bolters that you want to see come in for the All Blacks this weekend, Ralph, in terms of, players that haven't been considered before? Do you think Razor's going to give us one that might have not started so far?
Yeah, I think he's going to stick to his team against Ireland. I think he's going to pick the same team, but a few changes. But yeah, I think he's got to play it safe again this weekend.
Okay. Now, before I let you go today, give me your prediction for the All Blacks for the rest of the tour. Are they going to end up winning all the games? So they're calling it a Grand Slam. Are they going to get the Grand Slam this year or not?
Well, we're looking for the 5, but I think so. Yeah, as an All Black fan, loud and proud, I think so. Yep,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay, good on you, mate. I'll have to come back after the end of the tour and have another chat to you, and we'll talk about how it all went and get your prognosis on the whole All Black tour and who are those players that stood out. So that's awesome, mate. Listen, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show today. It's been fantastic to have you. I'd like to do some more of this in the future if you're keen for it. I'm sure that our fans would like to hear more of you on the channel here, so that'd be absolutely brilliant, mate. And we are going to have you back. We're going to get you on the United Rugby Fans podcast show, the new show we've just launched. So if you haven't seen that and you're watching today's show, check it out, because Ralph's going to appear. He's going to tell us a lot about rugby in Samoa, which I'm looking forward to, because I'm sure he's going to educate me on a lot of stuff that's going on in the Pacific Islands. And you're going to tell us how to fix everything down there as well, Ralph, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I'll try. Give it a go.
Okay, mate.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. It's been great to have you, and have a good day down there in New Zealand. You're just kicking off your day. I'm just about to go and have my first cold one for the day, so I'll have one for you, and enjoy the rest of the week and the build up to the game in Scotland at Murrayfield on the weekend, Ralph.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me on your awesome show again. Yeah, it's always a pleasure, and, especially a small channel like myself, and for you, you're doing big things for the rugby community. So I love what you do, Mark, and keep doing you and keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, mate. So there we go, everyone. That's fantastic, Ralph from Rugby Fanatics in New Zealand. What a great guy. He's got a lot of things that he wants to talk about with rugby and United Rugby Fans and all that stuff. So we're going to get him back on the show. We're going to talk about that on our other channel. So if you haven't been over to our other channel yet, go and check it out, United Rugby Podcast on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description of this video. We're going to be talking to people like Ralph about the rugby game in Samoa, the development of the game, the issues with the game, so that we all get more educated about what's going on in our great game across the world. But there you go. We've talked about New Zealand versus Ireland. We've given you our views and opinions. So now it's your turn to put your views and opinions in the comments of this video. So please do that. Let us know what you thought of that game in Chicago. And I'll be back again really soon as we head into the next weekend's games of great rugby. And of course, we've got the All Blacks going to Murrayfield, and that's going to be a fantastic game, of course, against Scotland. So make sure you stick around. And the best way to do that, of course, is to subscribe to the channel. If you've enjoyed this video with me and Ralph today, give it a thumbs up and a like, and tell all your rugby mates about it. Share it wherever you want to share it. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. So it's time for me to say adios from beautiful Cancun in Mexico. Keep well, keep safe, and keep enjoying your rugby, everyone. Bye for now.